Morning, YouTube. Taki here. Nah, I'm just playing. What's good, YouTube? Steam Deck Knights Unite, stand up, salute. Now, you may be thinking, Steam Deck Knight, that's something else in front of you. This is the Aya Neo 2021. So far, of these Windows handhelds, Linux handhelds, or PC handhelds in general, I've owned three. I've owned the OneXplayer 1165G. I've owned the Steam Deck, the 256 gig model. And now I am currently the owner of a 1TB Aya Neo. I wanted to put out a little PSA. I have been meaning to do a review ever since the OneXplayer, but I had never got around to it. But since on the Aya Neo, I thought I should just give some insight to these Windows handhelds and maybe just go on a little rant, and hopefully it might help you decide, what Windows handheld PC you want to pick up when you're looking at these. One thing that has been irking me lately is I don't think reviewers have been doing the best of jobs when it comes to explaining the downsides to these Windows PCs. I've been watching a lot of videos, a lot of comments on other people's videos, and one of the main things that I see in forums and comments is mostly people are focused on the power, the newest chip. But if you never owned one of these, I don't think you really understand that power is all well and good, but without software to back it, without a platform that is optimized for set hardware, it kind of don't make that big of a difference. And what I'm saying is, most people are looking at the Steam Deck, but they're thinking the newest chip, 6800U, which is in the new OneXplayer, the new Aya Neo 2, and the OneXplayer Minis, and I think there's some other things coming out with this chip, which is all well and good. I've seen it. I've seen the videos. The chip, by the numbers, is powerful, but the catch is, it's powerful at high TDPs. What is TDP? Total System Watt Power. Basically, the TDP is how much power is being delivered to that handheld to achieve set performance. Now, I think it's total watt draw. Sorry. But anyway, basically it's how much power the system is drawing. Now, if you've done your research, you would know that the 6800U is a beast of a chip at 20 and above watts. But compared to something like the Steam Deck, which can only run up to 15 watts, when you put them both side by side and run them at that same wattage, the performance is totally different. Meaning that with the Steam Deck, you can get a better performance at a lower TDP, meaning that lower power means more battery life, and just the ease on the system as a whole versus with something like the Aya Neo 2021 or the Aya Neo 2 to achieve decent enough power to run certain things, you would have to up the TDP pretty high, which costs you a lot of battery life. Now, here's my thing and a food for thought. A lot of people's complaint about the Steam Deck is the battery life is short. So if it runs at a 15 watt TDP and it's draining quote unquote quickly or doesn't last that long in other people's eyes, how do you think something like the Aya Neo will fare, or the Aya Neo 2 or the OneXplayer Mini? Well, not that great. Don't get me wrong, I picked this handheld in the end for a personal reason, which I'm about to get into some of the ups and downs of these systems and some things you should be looking for when you're picking out one of these. Um, for me, the last handheld I owned before this one was a Steam Deck. It had a couple of things. One, it had one Type C port. I tend to like to run a bunch of games that I have on hard drives, and having one Type C port is a deal breaker trying to run games in that way. Because if the Steam Deck is already drawing a lot of power, or the battery life isn't just phenomenal, then when you add something like an external hard drive, well, it gets worse. And for those, just the FYI, looking to buy adapters or battery banks, that's all well and good. This is a great one for the deck. This is a basis 65 watt charger. Great little battery for the deck for any of these handhelds in general that needs 65, at least up to 65 watts, and the Steam Deck only needed 45 to charge, so this was definitely good to go. And the Aya Neo charges at 65 watts total, so it works just fine. Yeah, so that was half the deal breaker. The other half was I had purchased a bunch of Modern Warfare games, and I'm pretty sure if you own a Steam Deck, then you know what I'm getting at. It's not compatible. So the compatibility is something that you definitely need to think about when getting a Steam Deck. Because if you don't play any of those games, mostly anti-cheat games, i.e. Fortnite, Call of Duty, things of that nature. If you don't play those games at all, then there's really no worry, and I don't really kind of understand why you shouldn't get the Steam Deck. At least when it comes to that. There's other compromises and ups and downs, but at least when it comes to that, I'm thinking the deck more so because it's better optimized as far as in running Steam games in general. So let's start with the OneXplayer. That was the first one I owned. My pros were it had a 2K screen, two Type C ports with a one Type A. So ports and screen were phenomenal. They were above my expectations as far as in something having ports, and I had never had anything that has such a large, beautiful screen. Controls were great. Buttons were great. I love that matte texture on the OneXplayer. my cons. Kind of like my A and Neo, the OneXplayer doesn't really have grips. It has a slight curve at the back. That's not a grip. This A and Neo has a slight curve. It's not a grip. The Steam Deck has a grip. It is definitely way more ergonomical and feels better in the hands than both of these, depending. I'm the type of person that likes something a little smaller. Almost went with the GPD Win 3 for that reason. But I didn't want something too small, so I didn't go that route. I wanted something in between the Steam Deck and the OneXplayer, because those were the two that I had, and I knew as far as in what I wanted to feel in my hand. The A and Neo just happens to fit the bill. To be honest, if I could have gotten my preferred choice, it would have been the A and Neo too. And I'm going to tell you why and everything, at the end. So anyway, the cons to the OneXplayer: battery life sucked. If the Steam Deck's battery life sucked, then that thing sucked bad. That big beautiful screen will eat a battery like no tomorrow. Initially, Windows. God, I hate Windows for gaming. Initially. Like, that was my first time. I've been a console gamer my whole life. It was not my first time owning a PC, but owning a PC to play games. Normally, it would be for everything else but playing games that I've owned a PC for. So, these were strictly for that. And navigating Windows to play games is terrible. It is terrible. Especially when you come from a console where menus are simple. It's terrible. So, what ended up happening is I kept it for a couple of months. I just so happened to see on Facebook Market somebody wanted to trade for a Steam Deck. I thought perfect. It had just recently came out about a month prior, and I wanted to see what Linux would do so bad. So I got the Steam Deck. Okay. Steam Deck. Pros. Definitely a very ergonomical system. I mean, the deck is like great to hold in your hands. It seems big, and that's the thing. I think everybody sees pictures and videos and thinks it's just tremendously big. But when you get in your hands, it feels so good in the hands. It's not as heavy as you think. And that grip, like, you just won't get over that when you grip that thing. Especially when you compare it to other handhelds that have so-called grips. Not going to be the same. Battery life was pretty good because that system, even though it's still going through optimizations, Valve has done a tremendously excellent job on making software. It seems like one of the, and I don't know how difficult it is to make software for gaming PCs or gaming handhelds or anything gaming console in general, but they are on the winning right track. Whatever they're doing, eventually, in my opinion, it is going to amount to a big change in what you would consider a gaming platform. At some point, I don't think we're just going to really game on Windows. That's how good the Linux OS is, or becoming. For me, it was built in the USA, so it had tremendous support, which is another big topic I should bring up when talking about these. The A and Neo and the OneXplayer virtually have no support. Now, you can say you can go on forums, email, you can sign up to Discord. Let's be honest. If you've read any of these posts or you've seen people posting their problems, they've been ghosted by these companies. And a lot. Valve is going to get back to you. They're going to try to help you. There's a place you can buy replacement parts. There's videos and guides to fix that. There's not a lot of that when it comes to these handhelds. You're kind of, it's like here's your $1,000, $1,500 device. You're on your own now. Versus Valve, like, how can we help you? Um, like I said, I love Steam OS. I love the controls. I love the feel. The trackpads, they're not gimmicky. I thought they were going to be, but they were pretty useful. But for me, who's never been like a big, I don't play any games that requires mouse. I try to play RTS sometimes, but nah, not really. I mostly play games that use controller support. So having to use a stick like with the Aya Neo to navigate the mouse, or get just by myself an external mouse, it's not really an issue. So, and that's like been a big deal for people, certain, people that make comments about these things. They just love the trackpad, so they don't necessarily have to use a stick for as a mouse, and I don't really find the issue with that. Um, Downsides. Linux is still being developed. It's still a work in progress. It's not all good. Compatibility is not there. Um, Still has hitches, glitches, bugs. So does Windows, but it's still a work in progress. Battery can be hit or miss. You play indies and you emulate. You can get tremendous battery life. Play AAA games, not so much. You need to be plugged in. Um, Other than that, that was the only thing that I think that I didn't like. And for me, my two deal breakers were Call of Duty or anti-cheat games and the lack of ports. Like I said, USB hubs and little the little extenders, or the the thing that lets you plug in power, and it's like they don't work as good as you would think. Just having a um having more than one dedicated port. And also, which is, let me say this for all you people who do want a Steam Deck and want to go the route of getting power bricks, and you want to use your external. One deal breaker for me was I was trying to play games off an external SSD and have it hooked up to power. Well, that's all well and good with one of those adapters that I bought, and you could make it work. Plugged in was the best way. But if you put it on a power bank and that power bank ran out, it would cut the power to the port, which would cut the power to the SSD, which would stop the game. So it's like you almost take a chance on messing up the SSD. I'm not sure exactly what that would have or wouldn't have did, but I didn't like that, because that means that if I was playing in that nature on the power bank and had the SSD hooked up, I would need to monitor that set power bank, and before it actually shut down or went to zero, I would need to save my game, close it out, take off the external SSD, and then unhook the power bank so I wouldn't lose any data. I didn't like that. Right now, my Aya Neo has 3 Type C ports. So now I can run from plug to plug. I can run from room to room without fear of having to hurry up and cut off the game or save my SSD so data won't get corrupted or anything like that. Now I can just freely use more than one port. The Steam Deck is a bit bulky as far as in travel size. Nowhere near pocketable. But like I said, in my opinion, for the average consumer, with me having this in front of me, I still say the Steam Deck is the better buy right now. Until there's another company that can guarantee just as much as support as Valve, have parts readily available, which I'm not sure if anybody else can pull that off like they can. But they're just the price to performance and all those extras as far as in peace of mind when you kind of just getting into these things and you don't want to just take a chance on a $1,500, $1,000 device that you probably don't know how to fix or get into. Yeah, I say the Steam Deck is definitely the safe bet, but it's not the worst bet. Let's get on to my last one, the Neo. Neo is smaller. Neo has 3 ports. Neo has Windows, so I could play Fortnite and Call of Duty easily. As far as in the OSs, I say they both have a learning curve. Most people try to throw out that Windows is like a godsend and Linux because they never used it. It's just like, oh, so complicated. It's not. It's pretty much the same thing. It's like the same learning curve. The same things you need to learn on Windows, you need to learn on Linux as well. One thing I will give the Steam Deck over both of those handhelds is emulation. The emulation setup is so easy. And right now on my Neo, I am currently using a program called Retrobat. Now, it wasn't hard. This one pretty much came pre-set up too, but not in the same way that EmuDeck, which is the program called for Steam Deck. It wasn't as easy. I mean, I'm sorry. No matter how you try and slice it, it was not as easy as EmuDeck. I eventually got most stuff set up, but even now, I'm still finding myself having to set the emulators up and try to optimize it. You don't have to do that with the Steam Deck. You download it, you add your ROMs, you add your BIOS, and that is it. One thing I will say is that the performance between emulation, at least with those 3 handhelds, has been like what and what. Right now, to me, the two or the systems that are hardest to emulate are Xbox 360, and PS3. The 6800U looks like it runs those decently. And I'll give it that right now. The Aeon Neo 2, the OneXplayer Mini, I'll give that 6800U chip that. That emulation seems to top off there as far as in on my Neo. I haven't even tried to play PS3. Now I can play up to PS2, Wii U, things of that nature. Everything down. And pretty good. But I haven't tried PS3 or Xbox 360. Well, I've tried Xbox, and I've tried one game, and it does work, which is the not the remastered, but the 007 for Xbox that never came out. That just that had the little alpha leak online. I have that game, and it does run. But other than that, if I had to pick which one I enjoyed setting up or was just fairly easy to me and I got into gaming faster, it would have been the Steam Deck. Like I said, I am currently 2, 3, 4, maybe a week in right now. Still trying to set up emulation or perfect it and tweaking settings of that nature. You'll have to do that with the Steam Deck too, just not when it comes to emulation. Everything is pretty much already good to go once you put ROMs and BIOS on there. I've enjoyed all three of the handhelds. I think that at some point, one of these companies, and I honestly think it's gonna be Valve that's gonna perfect Steam OS to the point to where you'll want Steam OS on most of your devices, and then like a lot of this stuff is gonna get better. All that power that the 6800U is gonna matter when somebody is able to optimize software for it. Right now, I just don't think it's worth paying over $1,000 and 20-30% difference. That's a lot. I mean, it is a lot. It's just not a lot when it comes to a lot of games. At least a lot of games that I run. Because it's kind of hard to say. I guess you'll have to kind of figure that mostly out for yourself, what you like to play, what you don't like to play. See, I don't play a lot of AAA games, so I didn't need the best of the best of the best, but I did want to play Call of Duty, so I had to pick a good in between. If I had to call it for a new user who just wanted to download a few RPGs that they bought on Steam, and you can play Steam games anywhere. I'd rather play it on the Steam Deck. I'm just being honest. Even with me having this thing sitting in front of me, I'd rather play those compatible games that I just know for sure gonna work on the Steam Deck, because it is the closest to a console-like experience right now. Do not be fooled by all this software, IO space, all this crap. And I call it crap because one of the things I was looking for was a great front end to lessen that blow of Windows. And right now, I wanted to try iSpace. I thought it might help because with OneXplayer they don't have anything. So that's like one of my definite reasons why I didn't necessarily prefer them. They just threw parts together. They designed a handheld, they threw the parts together, but they just figured they don't have to optimize the software. Windows just does everything they want it to do, which is not true. Because you'll find yourself configuring or trying to configure things out. Like right now, I'm currently trying to figure out how to get a PS4 to work as player 1 on my Neo instead of the built-in controls. I've been researching that for 2 days. I'm not saying it's hard. I'm just saying it's things that happen with these types of handhelds. And I was able to get it done on the deck when I had it fairly easily. Yeah, I still say get a deck right now. If you have the money and you have the know-how, you're into this stuff, you're a veteran, you know what to expect, you know how to tweak TDP, you're a tinkerer, you don't mind spending hours, and I've spent hours with these systems tinkering away. That's why I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning right now. I say go for whichever one floats your boat. But if you are a newcomer And it is some things that you were just missing out on, some videos you didn't see. You thought you was just gonna be able to come in, just download and play. I say go for the Steam Deck, because that's gonna be that experience out the box. So I hope that helps somebody. I hope you guys enjoyed my little rant. Thank you for listening. As always, you can ask me any questions about the OneXplayer 1165G, the AO Neo 2021, or the Steam Deck 256 gig. If I can answer any questions, I will. But other than that, I can't wait to see where this all goes. The future is just looking bright for us gamers. Thanks for listening. Taki out. Now I'm just playing. Shout out to Taki, man. That is my guy. That's the guy who initially got me back into looking into these handhelds, because my first look at any of these PC handhelds was a GPD Win, the one, and that was like $500, $600, $700 for pure garbage. I'm glad I waited. I'm glad I did. I wasn't tempted to just even try to get any of these AIs when they first came out, because over $1,000 for something that has dropped out of my hands and hit my wooden floor by accident, and it's happened to people from day one. I've seen a guy who left his Steam Deck on the cart. Like, it's no way I want to pay over $1,000 and you don't have insurance on it, and just an accident happens. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned to my next video. Hopefully I'll be making videos on the Neo. I'm not sure exactly what types of videos yet. I'm probably just going to be doing more rants on things that's coming out, programs, software. I'm still taking a look at all of these PC handhelds, because I'm so interested to see where this market goes. Like I said, once again, big shout out to Taki for driving the PC handheld, the handheld market in general, making these companies stop. He got these companies to stop cheapening out on certain things. He got these companies to put forth an effort, and I can appreciate that, man. I really do. Salute to everybody. Steam Deck Knights, unite, stand up. Till next time.